Hi there, English 102 students. This is your professor, Michael Bloomingberg. I wanted to make this video to help introduce to you the critical readings, the concept, and the discussion assignment that you are responsible for completing in week 2. Now, week 2 is the very last folder in module 1. So I want to very quickly say that I appreciate having the opportunity to get to meet you virtually last week in the class introduction assignment. And again, appreciate the hard work there, as well as in the syllabus quiz. This week, there's a whole lot of new content to explore. And so I'm going to help walk you through it. I do want to preface by saying that this is a video that I am using for different classes in different semesters. So I'm just going to generically refer to the due date this week as Sunday, but note your particular due date as far as the day and month is concerned. So you can see I'm already in Blackboard. I'm going to scroll down. Hopefully you had a chance to visit the start here in the resources area last week. Of course, Module 1 is in the history books, so we're going to scroll down to Module 2. Now, seeing as how we are an English 102 class, I'm going to assume to a certain degree that you have already been exposed to MLA standards of formatting, but I have included, just in case, a video along with the PDF that will walk you through how to set up your documents to meet the standards of formatting for MLA. And instead of clicking on the video, I'm just going to click on the PDF so that you can take a quick look at that. And I'll zoom it in. I'm not going to download it, but I'll just zoom it in. And you can see, I always get sort of an internal chuckle because I did forget to indent the paragraph, but I did note in the instructions to make sure you indent all paragraphs. But you can see that your first and last name is needed at the top left-hand side of your document. Below that, my name. And then I just used English 101 as a standard, but of course our class is 102 along with date. I also created through the insert of the Microsoft Word document, insert and a page number header. Check out the video if you don't know how to do that. It'll walk you through how to set it up. And the only other thing that I would say is that if you are using a Chromebook, Chromebooks tend to be a little different as far as the functions. You can do the same things in a Chromebook, but the way that you do them will be a little different than the way that I show on the video. So you might have to research that a little bit if you're using a Chromebook. You can still do it. I worked with a student maybe about a year ago in setting that standards up on a Chromebook. You can do it. Just take a little bit more time to find the functionality of where to go. I'm going to skip over how to write an argument. I'll come back to it, but I wanted to talk for just a minute about our English 102 class theme, and I've actually put the wrong theme on here, so I'll have to fix that. So I won't pull it up here because I've accidentally placed the 101 theme in here. But the 102 theme comes from a person that's I recognize is a little bit more of a political figure these days. And that's unfortunate because I don't really want to talk too much about politics at all in our class. But I would reference that Ben Carson, who is the author of our theme, and you can look at his idea of having to hammer home points for persuasive writing strategies. He wrote a book called Gifted Hands, and he's a world-renowned neurosurgeon, which was his occupation before becoming a political figure. But Dr. Ben Carson's, he wrote a book called Gifted Hands, which is an autobiography. I do think it's a very, very good book because he talks about his life growing up and the fact that he and his brother were raised by a single mother. And he ended up becoming a world-renowned neurosurgeon who was actually the first neurosurgeon to separate through surgery conjoined twins. So I'm just reading about that is very, very cool. but our theme doesn't actually come from that book, but it's a quote that Ben Carson gives about the importance of not using names or slurs when your argument starts to falter, but a good persuasive writer keeps hammering home their points. So I want to mention that. Now I want to circle back because I wanted to look at this how to write an argument. Of course, this is a PowerPoint. Persuade your audience, don't fight with them. And it is long, so I'm not going to go over all of it. And I don't fully expect for you to read it all either. I mean, you can certainly glance at each part, but I wanted to kind of walk you through this as the primary reading point for what it means to learn argument strategies like summary, quoting, agreements, gray areas. The fact that you want to maintain civility and tone. You want to build what we refer to as ethos or credibility when you're making your argument. There's information given what an argumentative essay is all about. It's an essay that's presented with the purpose of organizing and presenting your well-reasoned conclusions, easy for me to say, in order to persuade the audience to accept or at least seriously consider your point of view. And I like this idea of beginning at the end, and there's a lot in this PowerPoint. I know that you'll take time. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but look through it all. Pick the parts that really jump out at you. You might take some notes or even ask yourself, which parts of the PowerPoint do you think are most important for yourself as a writer. I don't know you as a writer. I'm going to get to know you, but maybe something about audience is going to be very important for you. And I realize that font's a little hard to see, but 5 key questions, lots of things about the audience, argument strategies. And a lot of this PowerPoint is giving examples as well. So for example, I give some information, summary and response from Dr. Martin Luther King's letter from a Birmingham jail. So look through it. You can learn about quoting. There's a lot of information about that. And it's really just designed to, and I know it's a very long PowerPoint, but it's really designed just to introduce you to the critical concepts for argumentative writing. So again, I won't go through it all, but I know that you'll take time to look at it. Additionally, there's some information about Aristotle's modes of persuasion. So when you click on that, these are just quite simply notes that I've put together. This is a PDF of Aristotle along with some information on what logos, which is logical appeal, ethos is the ethics of the writer, and pathos is the emotional appeal. So you can look at that and see kind of what you need to note about that. The primary reading besides the PowerPoint and PDF is some information in PDF form called Social Media, What's Not to Like, and it's by an author named Alison Beer Stevens. And I'm going to pull it up here. It is a 2-part series that writer Stevens wrote back in 2017. And in the article, you can read all about how social media impacts young people, teenagers in particular, about how it changes neuropathways in the brain. And I think we are all at a point to various degrees in our lives where social media is very important. There's also reference to a 2013 study done by a person named Sarah Conan, who you can look at, which is quite interesting. And so you can read down through it. And by the way, when you get to the end of the article, you can see a picture of Alison Beer Stevens, who Stevens does a lot of writing for children too, by the way. She has a profound love of science. Now, to help you with MLA documentation or requirements, there's a link to the Purdue OWL website. So when you click it, if you've never seen the Purdue OWL, if you didn't experience that in English 101, the Purdue OWL is just simply an acronym meaning Online Writing Lab. And you can look up different, and I don't want to play the video here, but you can look up how to cite sources using MLA in text in particular. You can navigate over at the top to the basics would probably be the best way to go to get the basic in text citation rules. Essentially for MLA, what you have to do is give the author's last name and page or paragraph number, depending on the type of source. Now, for the social media PDF, I'm going to click back on that. When you're quoting that in text, as you can see, there are no page numbers given, so you would have to actually drop on paragraph numbers, which is not so fun, but it's not a super long article, so you do have that in your favor. It's just maybe 3 or 4 pages. Along with the PDF that you're reading this week in PowerPoint. All right, finally, we've reached the assignment for this week, which is how to write an essay discussion. You're asked to do a few things, and of course, initial posting and peer response is due Sunday, and again, note your specific date on that. But what you're asked to do is once you have reviewed the PowerPoint and the social media articles, along with Aristotle's modes of persuasion, in your own words, what is argumentative writing? And you have a 1-sentence minimum on that. How do you see yourself working with argumentative writing in English 102? And you can discuss if you've used it, argumentative writing modes in other classes, like English 101, for example. And in the assigned social media article, lists 3 specific points that are given related to social media use. These can be pros or cons, meaning that they're for or against social media use. Doesn't really matter as long as there's 3 specific points. But notice in bold that you are asked to use MLA documentation for in-text citations when citing your 3 specific arguments. And again, I have linked the Purdue OWL for you so that you can review MLA and in-text citations. My hope is that you've at least had a little dabble of work with MLA and 101, but if not, now is a great chance to really immerse yourself in MLA documentation. And if you have any questions as you're working, you are encouraged to feel free to email me. That is the best way to contact me if you have any questions. So we have looked at MLA standards of formatting, how to set up your documents. We have looked at our English 102 theme. Even though I didn't pull it up, I'm going to get that sorted out after I make this video, get the right theme on there. We've looked at how to write an argument briefly. It's a long PowerPoint. We briefly looked at the modes of persuasion from Aristotle, the social media article, and this is all building to how to write an essay discussion, that being a persuasive essay. So next week, looking ahead, I'll make another video for next week, but we'll be in a brand new module next week. That'll be for module 2, and we'll begin the process of looking at the first essay assignment at that point. So I just want to say I appreciate your hard work. I am here if you get stuck or have any questions. But beyond that, I'm going to go ahead and stop share and wrap things up. So thank you so much. Take care and have a good week 2.